Could Iran now be preparing its most sinister war move yet, with reports suggesting a ground invasion may be coming soon to a country that has so far stayed largely on the sidelines? Is Mojtaba actually preparing to send Iranian ground troops into Kuwait, placing key American military bases in that country in direct and immediate danger? Could Iranian soldiers really be preparing to storm American installations like Camp Buehring, Camp Arifjan, and Ali al Salem Air Base, escalating this war into direct ground combat with US forces? With talk of helicopters, ground troops, and even hostages, is Iran now openly calling for the capture of American bases inside Kuwait, marking a dramatic and dangerous shift in its wartime strategy? According to JFeed, Iran is actively weighing a ground incursion into Kuwait specifically aimed at capturing key American military bases stationed inside the country. Analyst Mahdi Khanalizadeh stated that Kuwait has emerged as the principal option under consideration for potential Iranian ground invasion in the current phase of this conflict. Under this plan, Iranian forces could reportedly target Camp Buehring, Camp Arifjan, or the Ali al Salem Air Base, three of the most significant American military footholds in Kuwait. Notably, Iran's Revolutionary Guard has already struck these very same bases with missiles and drones on multiple occasions, suggesting a ground assault would simply be the next escalatory step. Several experts have also argued that American military bases scattered across the wider region should now be considered legitimate targets given the ongoing hostilities. This comes as former Iranian Foreign Minister Manouchehr Mottaki has publicly called for an actual ground assault on American bases, lending political weight to what was once only a military possibility. Mottaki, who now serves as a parliamentarian, has gone further by reportedly saying that Iran must aim to abduct US troops during such an operation, framing this as a way to change the war's dynamics. His explosive comments were reported by the Iran international news outlet on July 15, instantly igniting debate over whether Tehran might actually attempt such a high-stakes mission. After initially suggesting the abduction of around 100 Americans, Mottaki later escalated his rhetoric and called for taking thousands of US personnel, dramatically raising the stakes in his proposed plan. He said, quote, "My proposal is that we launch a ground attack on one of the US bases in the region, capture 100 Americans and bring them to Iran. We should launch a ground attack on US military bases in the region, seize one of them, take thousands of American soldiers prisoner and bring them to Iran. We must begin the ground offensive, something the Americans threatened for a long time but never dared to carry out," unquote. Senior advisor to Iran's supreme leader, General Mohsen Rezai, delivered one of Tehran's strongest warnings yet.
If the U.S. attacks continue for another 2 or 3 days, we will enter a phase of full-scale offensive and destructive attacks. What does that mean? It means that Iran will no longer limit itself to mere retaliation, and no political border will be safe from Iran's offensive powers.
Iran has warned countries hosting U.S. military forces to prepare for what it calls a corresponding response. The warning was issued by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps in a statement released on July 17, according to Tasnim news agency. IRGC's statement read, and I quote, "The countries that host the aggressors of the United States should be ready to receive a corresponding response. The location of the gathering of the aggressor forces in the support center of the ground forces in Arifjan and the radar of the American base of Ali al Salem in Kuwait were destroyed. The U.S. regime that broke the agreement once again amid negotiations and the illusion of weakening Iran, officially resumed the war that had never ended since the beginning of last week. But after a few days of war with the armed forces and receiving crushing responses to his aggressions and verifying that the Iranian armed forces have become much stronger, since the first day of the war on February 28, instead of honorably accepting defeat and admitting to his miscalculation since the previous day, he took a new approach by running away from the battlefield face to face and tried to hide his failure in the military confrontation by engaging in war crimes, and by destructive attacks on hospitals, bridges, railways, airports, ports, and telecommunication centers. Like that and the killing of civilians, he tried to maintain his position instead of fighting crime and cowardice. Since there is no international organization to prevent these barbarities of the American army, there is no other way than the Quranic commandment in front of us. Therefore, the host countries of the aggressors of the United States, who gave their land to the aggressors to attack Iran, should be ready to receive a corresponding response and activate their civil defense units to protect the lives of their citizens and keep them away from possible targets. Nevertheless, in order to give a chance to change this cowardly approach of the American enemy, last night we chose military targets to respond to the enemy. In the 18th wave of Operation Nasir II, the powerful fighters of the IRGC ground forces, with the blessed code Ya Abul Fazl al-Abbas, peace be upon him, targeted the location of the gathering of the aggressor forces in the support center of their ground forces in Arif Jan, killed a number of them, and simultaneously destroyed it with a drone attack on the radar of the American base of Ali al-Salem in Kuwait. Ground forces fighters also destroyed a weapons maintenance shed and a drone hangar. Fighting like warriors continues. Unquote. The warning came after the IRGC claimed it had struck Camp Arif Jan and Ali al-Salem airbase in Kuwait. Iran says the operation destroyed a radar system, a weapons maintenance facility, and a hangar allegedly linked to U.S. forces. The IRGC accused Washington of resuming military operations while negotiations were still underway. Tehran also urged Gulf governments to activate civil defense measures as the conflict enters a more dangerous phase. The warning appears aimed at increasing pressure on regional allies that continue to host or support U.S. military operations. A former Iranian official has claimed the United States is preparing for a possible ground invasion of Iran. Askar Ibrahimi Azal told Iran International that Washington is building up military infrastructure across the Gulf region. The former deputy oil minister alleged that the U.S. is expanding its military presence in countries, including the United Arab Emirates. He also claimed that foreign mercenaries are being recruited as part of preparations for a potential future operation. Ibrahimi Azal alleged that any ground offensive could target Qeshm Island or other areas along Iran's southern coastline. He also identified Karg Island as another possible objective in any future U.S. military campaign. According to Ibrahimi Asl, Washington could delay any potential ground invasion until cooler weather arrives in September.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Have you ever wondered what happens when a banking dynasty meets tides of world history, intrigue, and a dash of myth?
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.